Hello, my fellow art lovers, and welcome to... I forgot to close my door. Right, let's start again. Hello, my fellow art lovers, and welcome to KayJayComicArt. KJ here, bringing you the first manga review I have done in approximately 2 years. I'm not really sure how long it's been. I have changed a lot from my original vlogs, which I looked back on recently. And the fact that it's only been a couple of years since I started this YouTube channel, like properly, like the art version of it, and I've already grown to 230 subscribers, makes me just want to say thank you to everyone who's taken the time to look at my art and see if they like it or not. And I never once mentioned this, but I thought I would. Do you know the icon for my YouTube channel? It's inspired by this. Oh, wrong one. It's inspired by this. I actually designed this tattoo to represent myself. The snake is my love for snakes, because I have a pet snake named Orion. There's art supplies coming out of it, which are to represent my love for writing and art, which has got a paintbrush, a pen, stuff like that. And the box is to represent my love for comics and manga. And the reason I chose this as my YouTube channel symbol, I got it done as a tattoo first, is because it represents who I am and what I love in the world. So it made sense to make it my icon. So I took the tattoo design and I made it my icon instead as well. And it's the only tattoo I've ever gotten. I'm planning on getting more, but I have yet to decide what. But I just thought I'd let you know the origin of that icon. And that's why you see it everywhere on the internet, because it is me. It is it is what represents who I am. So it makes sense that I use it everywhere. So for today's review, I'm going to be reviewing Black Clover. Let me just turn it so you don't get glare. And the reason I'm reviewing Black Clover is it is my second favourite manga. My first being Naruto, which I've already done, and this is my second favourite. I was going to do Black Butler, but I have yet to read any of them. I haven't actually read any manga in a while, and I mean like a while. Because I have been non-stop busy, and there have been loads of games that have been getting my attention. I really should get back into reading them, because they are so good. They help with inspiration, and if you're an artist and you're looking for, like, references or something to learn to draw from, manga and screenshots, that's how I learned. I started with them, learned the fundamentals, built them all together, and now I can draw with very few references if needed. I only use references when I need a certain pose that I can't make look right, and when I'm designing my own characters or drawing other people's characters, because never trust your own memory when it comes to appearances. You will forget something, like I did in my recent drawings, where I drew my character in Story of Seasons, but I forgot to add that there was no sleeves in the jacket. So I ended up having to make the design of the character's outfit a bit different to what it is actually, because of the fact that I had to give it sleeves, because I forgot. So yeah, always use a reference, but yeah, this is a unscripted video, so you can tell I'm going to ramble a lot, so I hope yous are okay with that. Whatever makes the video a bit longer, really. But so my review is going to do two things. I am going to explain a little bit about the manga itself, then I am going to rate it overall, then I'm going to go through the pages and rate it on story and art, because as an artist and a writer, those are two important events. They're key in any story, obviously, but in a comic especially, you need to have good storytelling and good art. If one lacks and the other doesn't, it can be a good story but kind of bad art, which can also pull it back, but it can also help. Like certain comics are comedy based. If it's comedy based comic, it doesn't need to be as wow looking. It doesn't need to be like that level. But if it's a serious story, you're going to want to make serious art to go with it. So yeah, we're going to start it with overall. This is a manga about this boy here. Sorry, everything's reversed on my screen, so my left is my right and my right is my left on this. So if I point to the wrong thing, you'll know. So yeah, this is a story about Asta, who is the guy here with no arms right now. This is only because this is the manga comic I took out of my shelf, which is over there. It's a shelf filled with comics I have yet to read, so I just picked that one up because otherwise I'd have to find my way through my manga collection, and there are so many in there, it'll take me a week to get it out. So yes, it's about a boy named Asta who wants to be the Wizard King, which is the main hierarchy of magic in this universe. However, though he was born in an orphanage, and despite everything he struggled with, he wants to be the Wizard King more than anything. Despite the fact that he's a commoner, though he was born in these unfortunate circumstances, he will not let go of his dream. Even after finding out he has no magic, he still fights and ends up getting a grimoire, which has an unusual power that no other person in the universe has. Anti-magic. Something that can stop anyone else's magic from working. So it is an interesting story about his adventures and how he becomes the Wizard King, which has not yet happened. But there are millions of good characters. The female characters in this series especially are inspiring, especially one called MereoleonaXOC. She is a strong woman. She doesn't care about male attention. She doesn't care about female attention either, to be honest. She wants to be a powerful wizard, but she doesn't want to be tied down to obligation and family name. She's just an all-round breath of fresh air, considering Naruto's female character designs were lacking in the sense of personalities outside of the ones that usually you see for a female. So there are some really interesting breath of fresh air characters in the story, and that's what makes me like it a lot. Because if a character's realistic, then it's one of my favourite things, because my favourite thing in stories and art is character designs. It's seeing a humanoid character or human character create themselves. Like, you write them, but they seem to breathe their own life, if that makes sense. So yeah, overall, with the story and the art attached to this entire story, the premise is interesting. It's very stereotypical hero manga, which is fair, because that's also the basis I follow. Because as a shonen manga artist myself, shonen manga is my absolute favourite. Though mine has a mixture of shoujo in it as well, but so does this in a way. It's got romance, it's got action, it's got interesting characters, and it's got interesting storylines. So I'm going to give it roughly a 9 out of 10 in overall, because I have very few bad things to say about it. The only thing I will say that's bad about it is the cover art feels very simple. While it is extremely hard to replicate, I have tried, it is still very simple compared to some other manga. Like, if you took Black Butler and put it next to it, you'd see the difference. But despite the colouring being very simple, the character designs themselves and the sketching, the line art especially, all make up for it, especially the interesting designs of the cover themselves. So while it has simplified colouring, it is very interesting and it is still a good story. So now I will comment on the art itself. I'm going to go with the art first because, well, who doesn't love a bit of manga art? So I'm just going to find a really cool looking page because, yeah, you don't want to look at a page that's not exciting to look at, because then you don't get the gist of it, do you? Let's have a look, see if there's any cool pages. Fair. No, there's even silly little pages. Right, so I had one. Where has it gone? Ah, there we go. Right, I don't like this guy. I don't know what his name is. It's like his Longrus. I don't like him. But this is a very interesting page to look at. It's cool. It's collected. It has interesting dynamic poses. I am covering him with my finger. There you go. It's got interesting close-ups of the characters and interesting panel designs as well. Because if you look, some of them are very narrow. Some of them are very long. Some are very tall. And some are just normal-sized comic pages or on a slant. And if I was to rate this manga's drawing abilities, I would say this page alone makes me think it is a solid 9.5 out of 10, because I genuinely love the art. It's not overly simple, it's not overly detailed, it's a manga. It's not too realistic, but it's not too simplified, and I like that. The backgrounds are non-existent on this page, but that's understandable, because manga, you don't need backgrounds for every single panel. It does my head in when people say you need a background for every single panel, because it just doesn't. If there's a depressing moment and you need depressing lines in the background, you don't need a background itself to cloud it. Too much can clutter a panel. So it follows that rule very well. It's very easy to read, and everything is clear. Every action is clear. Like here, you can tell something is getting, I think something slimy. Yeah, there's something slimy growing there. And he is reacting to it. And you can see that very easily. You can see when characters are falling over. You can see when characters are ridiculously terrifying. And the laughter this just proves it's overly terrifying. So everything in this page alone is very clear. It's very understandable. You can tell they're in a villain fight, and you can tell, well, you can tell they're either winning or losing. Let me have a look. They were losing, but now they're winning. Okay. Like I said, this is one I haven't read yet. I haven't got up to this chapter yet. This is actually the first one to read in the list once I finish the next Vigilantes for My Hero Academia. So once I finish that, I'll be able to read this and I can tell you more about it. But until then, I have read it before online because I read my manga online. Once I realise I like it, I start collecting the volumes because I don't want to buy something I don't want to read. And while I don't agree with pirating altogether, as long as you end up liking it enough to want to buy it, then I feel like there's no problem in exploring it online first, as long as you do support the creators by buying them. Because every artist needs an income, and this is the only way we're getting it. So yeah, I'd give the art a solid 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10, because I do love it. It's clear, it's crisp, it's very interesting. You don't feel like you're just sliding through it. You've got to take it in and absorb every page, which is brilliant. So yeah, that's the art. Now for the storytelling. Like I said, the art really does help with the storytelling, so that's going to influence my decision a little bit. But look, seeing how clear every page is. The close-ups, the way the tree appears, the way the fight goes, everything. It's chaos, but it's understandable chaos. And the storylines have humour mixed with severity at the best of moments. And because of that, I'm giving the storytelling a solid 9.5 out of 10 as well. Because it has its silly moments, but who doesn't need a silly moment in the story, really? It doesn't take itself too seriously, but it has its serious moments when it needs to, and that's the best part about it. Every story should have an up and a down moment, an intense severity of a moment, and then a humorous, light-hearted moment to break away from the constant. So having this there, having all of these sequences work so smoothly with each other, gives me the impression that the manga artist who made this is not only a master, but understands what his readers want. And like Naruto, I feel like if people gave this manga more of a chance than they already do, which is starting to build, it's starting to get a much higher reputation than it had before. If people kept giving it that chance, if people keep reading it and go, you know, it's not actually that bad. Oh, wow, it's really good. Oh my god, I can't stop reading. If more people did that, this would become one of the greats. And I feel like it deserves it. It does everything that Naruto does, but better in some ways. And it deserves the podium. Just like My Hero Academia, just like this Dr. Stone I've heard about. I haven't read it yet. This needs more attention. And if you guys see this and you give it a read and you like it, tell me why in the comments below, because I'd love to hear what you thought of it as well. So yeah, roughly it is a full 10 out of 10 for everything if you compile all of it together. But it is at least a 9 out of 10 for each individual category. And that alone makes me think that this is an amazing manga. It's worth a read, and I would recommend it to anyone I see. And not just because I have a crush on MereoleonaXOC. In all seriousness, though, every character is interesting. Every character is made to be realistic, and as realistic as they can get considering magic. But they are made to be realistic in personality. They are made to be their own person, and I love that. So if you ever want to make a good manga, focus on character design, interesting world development, and storylines that will make people want to turn the page. You are all excellent judges of character, I assume, because, well, one, you like my stuff, which makes me very happy, and that's, well, I work hard on making my characters as realistic as possible, so the fact that you enjoy my characters makes me think you're excellent judges of characters, because they're the one thing I am proud of. But I imagine you read this and you'll have the same opinion I do. If you don't, it's fine. It's absolutely fine, because it's not everyone's cup of tea. Some people prefer shoujo, some people prefer seinen. I prefer shonen. But whether you like it or not, give it a read, let me know what you think, and hopefully this was a bit of a breath of fresh air itself, because I've done a lot of speed paints lately, and I've been wanting to do another manga review for a while, but I'm scared to do unscripted videos just because I stammer a lot and I blab a lot. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Please like and subscribe. Maybe hit the notification bell if you want to keep up to date with my content. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you, and thank you so much for getting me to 230 subscribers. I never thought I'd get this far from the 60 I started with. So I love you all to pieces. I hope you all the best in life, and please let me know what you think, because it really helps me. I want to keep improving as an artist, and improving as a writer, and improving as a YouTuber as well, because even though I don't make an income out of it, it is fun to do, and I would like to make it more fun for everyone else. Thank you again, and I will see you next week for another video.